Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Excuse the dog here. We're just going to check out the wind together. We do this sometimes. The hip already knocked my right hip now. In 6 years or so, these two have knocked my hips more than anything else outside of the recent assault. So, today it's a little windy. So between February and March, I've noticed around here out in LaSalle, which is part of Monroe County, Michigan, is the winds pick up between February and March. We had closed on the house around that time, and we had started to slowly move in. I stayed here. John was on nights, so I did most of the preliminary inspections, and what the most things were like, okay, we got to figure these things out. One was there was wiring still hooked up to the pool, but it was on a broken post connected over behind there, an old farm light thing. Because this house itself from 1887 or 89, I'm starting to wonder if parts of it were earlier, but that's just speculation because we don't have enough understanding of the property. So for instance, today we're just going to hang out and jibber jabber and just have fun. This over here is a smaller piece of the home, and I always feel like I have to say this house looks huge, and it is a big house. I mean, in the sense of houses, but see, it's around the 1,700 square feet. I don't know if it includes this, so that's a good size. It might be a little less. Come on, pups. Amazon's here. I wonder if it's the wallpaper we liked. But we couldn't find traditional wallpaper, so I'm like, the sticky stuff doesn't work. Good boys. Look how good they listened. That was real good boys. And, okay, so I think that this side of the cottage, we're going to hang out. We're going to maybe look at some animals. We will get a little serious about escalation of crime. But, you can just set it on top if you want. You can just set it on top anywhere if you want. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm here.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay, it's because the walls are at least triple or more brick. I guess that's what gives it such its magnificent sight, because it is a magnificent house. What I'm saying is this piece over here, I think maybe would have been built first. This has a crawl space under here. We've not ventured there yet, but mice do, I suppose. I just saw some new something, so I gotta get that. I had sealed up some major gaps the first year that I found around some edges on the oldest part. Maybe that was the wallpaper. Sometimes we'd go out to get something like that, but I got to untie so much stuff because we just had to keep doing rigging because we couldn't keep up with some stuff that was going on with hooey and a bunch of other wooies. So we just do the best we can. I don't know what they're... So I planted about 11 trees so far, but I really have to stop. The front is all the frontage. It's all frontage. We thought this would really work to keep me safer, to keep me less interrogated and bothered. But since stuff is set up prior to us arriving or during the preliminaries, this guy was willing to take just about anything and do just anything. They were on our property numerous times. If we took the dogs off the property, but see, we're not going to spend our whole lives sending in videos to a government who doesn't care. So, you have to kind of pick and choose. It's like, how do we want to exist? Do we want to exist just sending in videos and proof all the time of being harassed? I don't know if Jesus did that, or any of the apostles, or any of the natives of our planet that knew how to live on this planet peacefully and treat the earth appropriately and do what we were supposed to do to keep it preserved, because that was our commandment, one of our first commandments from our Creator. So right now we're going to go in and do a spiritual reading. This just rolled up. And not a spiritual reading, we're just hanging out. So yes, I think the house is really cool, but we're willing to bolt out at any moment. So Jesus just has to tell us what's going on. But it's not time, and I'm more of a activated energy. I'm sure it's been noticed. My husband is more of a cool, mostly, predominantly cool. That doesn't mean that we're not human. So for instance, and we both have some attention deficit. There's different things that have happened to us. So that doesn't mean that he's just cool all the time and he's not, oh my God, that guy. Any other man in his situation, what he's seen, what the government and stuff's done to his wife, would have already been in prison. They would have. And that's not like a reward. No, it is a reward to my husband because he has the biggest crown in heaven. My husband is one of the men that has the biggest crown in heaven with Jesus. I really believe that. A raw cut amethyst. I always like stuff like this where it's just, but then you gotta wonder too about sourcing and things like that. But this is pretty and it just sits out. It's just really beautiful. Can't really get the gist of the purple on this with the lighting. Puppies are pretty upset about the wind and some snow or something might come in. These are cute, highly discounted. I don't know if I got about 10 of them. Just silly stuff. I put it in my one hat and then it was bouncing around. It was fun. So we'll have fun, but yes, like I said, we'll be talking serious too. I'm gonna flip through this Stephen D. Farmer. It's not fortune telling. This is from the puppies when they were babies. This was one of the first 3. Like they were even out on the patio, everything was fenced in, but I was barely left this book out. They were teeny tiny still, so I keep it as a memory of this. This would be mud and dirt. So since they would work as a team. My older dog taught him such is not to rip stuff up, but they could do a lot of work in a lot of time. And I just got out in enough time where I've told this story before, that they had just mutilated the outside cover so you can't see who Stephen D. Farmer was. And plus it's a wonderful memory of when they were babies and the crazy wild that they were. And I always say that they were the whirlwind, like the Tasmanian devil, and I'm not kidding. Because when they were super small, they could kind of jump on each other's backs and leap and do these things because there wasn't the weight behind it, but they were getting the strength. So they could literally kind of just, it seemed like dancing in the air. Obviously, we had to curb that because of the neighbors along the fence, but the ones that would like to dangle, Dave and Charlie, they like to dangle their arm, so I couldn't get outside and have any peace in the gardens, and then they could disrupt the dogs. It was part of the routine. So this is one that we're gonna put out here. It's like an L right here. You can't see it. It's behind me. Excuse me, behind the camera. And since this is a small kitchen nook, now this is one of them, and I really like it. But I like this next one best. It's got cute little... I don't want to ruin it. We'll see it another time. So now, because it is a smaller area, I was back and forth, and I'm like, the way the things are going... Well, the economy, not that God isn't a miracle worker, but this house sat for over a year. It's old. I mean, it was going to take that special type of person to want to take it on, you know, and I think we are that, but some other agendas were already pre-planned from the last place. I know it's hard to believe, but One day God will show it and it'll be true. And unfortunately, many past loved ones that are still alive and they'll see it. I'll probably be gone before truth fully comes out, but meantime, I'm still going to do testimonies and things. And even though if it's random, only if you've been here a while, I just assume that most of my followers may not be of the safest, but who knows? Who knows? I think some are all right. I'm here mainly to do my testimonies and have them as a recorded evidence, and also for the snooper troopers, people that need help, that need their voice back, that feel like there's just no hope, and also sometimes very strong messages to evil doers is technically part of my main existence with God. But for me to focus, probably, I'm gonna probably have to just put the gate up for them, because he's not, like, he'll just keep, and then go, and then it looks like I'm being so cruel when I have to say, go lay down, and I mean it. You're gonna have to go lay down, and I mean it. Go rest with your brother right now. Did you hear him walk away? Yes, so. All right, yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. Dogs aren't stupid. People make dogs to be stupider than they are. They've probably got one of the closest DNAs to humans. It's definitely up in the top segments. But somehow that's all gotten convoluted that we're equal to as animals. No, we're not. No, we're not. We have domain over, but yet to care for and preserve the animal kingdom, because we're a step above on the totem pole, okay? One reason is these, another is just all of the rest of us. Oh, you're special as who you were as you were born, And so, because this isn't an accurate, and I can't call it a reading, we just do this for fun. There's no, this isn't, you're not following this animal, we're just doing it for fun. And it's in alphabetical order, so, I already know if I'm not, okay, see, just silliness, so, what's this? Cougar, confidence, be bold and take charge. Are you feeling overly defeated? Are you feeling too helpless, too hopeless, you just don't have it in you? Well, you do. You have the strength within you, within your spirit and your being with your Creator. We are Creator, God's creation. This will probably freak some people out here in a second. So, when you purposely plot out to harm, to do evil, and you're trying to convince yourself it's not because you're getting some moolah or you're getting some sort of monetary gain from harming others, if you're plotting any sort of scheme or scheme or just a vendetta, evil against another person, do you know who you're warring against technically? We're supposed to do this, Lord. It's going to get confused. You're warring against God, because we are not God, but we are God's creation. We are His children. We're technically His property, but that can be misconstrued too. He gave us a free will, so whoever we want to follow, whatever we want to do, we can technically do within reason. I believe that, and I don't, because I honestly believe some people God does have on a tighter leash in some areas, and in other areas He may even allow some people to go a little bit too more overboard with things, or seem to be permitted things that other people aren't permitted, and it can really bother other types of people. This fell out, we'll just take it as a sign, because we're just having fun right now. And this is not to mock anything. Sometimes I think it sounds like I'm mocking rapture and stuff, which I have been known to do, but only because I was trapped in some of that on and off, and I hate that even spilled out or even was uttered out to my son, because he's smart enough, he even knew, and he probably barely ever read his Bible. So, cougar, he was young when he was like, questioning it. I questioned it always, but I did hope for a rescue. Who doesn't? Who doesn't in this world full of that is going more evil? I mean, let's not lie, please. But we can do the best we can to keep the light shining with ourselves and not participate in the organized crimes around us. Now, I need to mention things about the border and how this is going to get really wild, and it's continuing to, and I'm sure most people know this. There is maybe a possible somewhat of a relief within this mess, but a war is a war. They allowed them in, they dumped them in. Years and years ago, me and my husband would talk about this. I'll just say me and John. And so have you ever heard me say John? I feel funny saying husband. It's like I never like to be called mother. Mother. I liked mom, or I even Meemaw. I would have been fine with Meemaw even. Mom is fine. Mama mia. Meemaw. Just not mother, please. Okay, we won't go into therapy right now. I might, but the cougar, confidence. You're being called to take a role of leadership, and it's natural for certain fears and considerations to surface, such as people will assume because of this, and because of my organite, my red Sedona, that I'm some sort of whatever that's in the bad. I don't believe I am. If God gives you a different message about me, then don't watch. It's really that simple. You know what I mean? I'm not going to fit in to the suit and tie Christian population that denies all true facts of what really went down and what's still continuing to go down. And how many books were not included in the Bible that I actually believe God wanted included in the Bible, but we won't get in because that was man tampering again with God's wisdom and truth and proof of what's going on. There's actually 3 or 4 books from the Bible of women leaders. And then if I can find that article again and I can find the books, I will mention them, but I most likely won't. So you look it up yourself. Women that were warrior leaders and that were extremely instrumental in the movement of God. Will I be seen as arrogant, bullying, or full of myself? It's natural for certain fears and considerations to surface, such as, will I be seen as arrogant, bullying, or full of myself? Will others listen to me? Will I be challenged? Well, the truth is, these are all possible. You need to just get over it. Rise above all these mind-made fears and heed the call. Whether you realize it or not, you're a natural leader, and there's no need to diminish the hard-earned skills you learn through life lessons just so you can play it safe. What you have to offer is needed right now, whether it's with your partner, your family, your community, or the larger world around you. You will be judged. Count on it. And you need to hear these judgments, yet not allow them to rule you. Don't mistake ego-driven stubbornness and willfulness for determination. Listen to the voice of your inner nature and the wisdom gathered from experience to guide your choices. Acknowledge that everyone else has to make their own choices, including their response to you. Remember that effective leaders are good listeners. They know when to follow and when to lead, and when to move forward and when to hold still. And the difference between that is a dictator is a control freak, totalitarianism type of mentality. It's their way or the highway, and they have high levels of narcissism. They usually have many minions to fulfill their deeds of conquer and oppression of the average human being, the paupers, you might say, of the universe. And they need our pain to flourish. They need your hard work, sweat, and tears, and anguish and pain to fuel them to stand on your shoulders and be the almighties. No, that's not really how God wanted it. And God wanted councils with a checkpoint and to preserve the original rules of how to preserve and live in harmony with this earth. Bringing in rules and regulations, hacking, whacking, and forcing people to do or say or be something that they're not, or to force a financial punishment on someone because they have an ancient fridge or whatever else, and the energy bills of the whatever that was, the green movement, which literally has good portions of Europe in a complete noose. Watch someone from Austria. Austria was, you know what I mean? Like, if you could, way back when, if you could figure out, back when it was, we still had cars, but Austria might have been a wonderful place to go, to be, especially artisans, new business, you're looking for new horizons, gorgeous landscapes. Look at Austria now. Go in, dig deep into their tax infrastructure, their financial stats. Oh, she's drifting off. So we got turtle. This fell out of the book, okay? Turtle, stop trying to make something happen. You're like, yeah, but you just said this. Well, because we're just having fun. Because these two together, if you can work it out. Cougar and knowing when to retreat. Two of the most wonderful spiritual gifts from God Creator as you grow in Christ. To know when to retreat and to know when to stand up and be confident in your endeavors with the Lord. Some of us could be levels of retardation. Maybe that we took a little longer on those to know when to retreat and know when to be strong. So we have the swan. This is gathering, activity, alertness, guardian. Turtle, retreat, stop trying to make something happen. Cougar, be bold and take charge. What are associations with the cougar? Stealth, leadership, focus, conviction. Retreat, stop trying to make something happen. Peace, elegance, purity, innocence. You really got to get outdoors in nature. You've got to reconnect with the earth. There are people that have a target on their head. If someone out there can give me an idea on how you navigate, because, well, maybe you made this your own problem. Yeah, I did. I've been going with the Lord on that. Is nature was just like, it was it. You know what I mean? That was my connect with the Lord. Take me to church. Love to socialize. Praise the Lord. Woo! Praise you, Jesus. Love it. You know what I mean? But you really want to feel connected. You find a peaceful place in a forest or up on a mountain or even maybe even out in the desert in a safe spot. Watch for rattlers and stuff. Is because they like to hover around, you know. Okay. And find that spot away from no phones, no nothing. And just sit with the Lord. And admire his creation. And I find that sometimes to be the most grounding experiences of any of them. Oh, Lord, I need you. Yeah, that helps too. It can help. But like, just leaning up against a tree, just sitting on the ground. Swan. So if you're of grace, you know when to retreat, when to go forward, when to fight, when not to fight. A swan, appreciate the beauty inside and all around you. We all have beauty. We all have beauty. Medical procedures may change your shell. That is not true beauty. That's just a cliche. It may seem like a cliche from your youth till when you start to see the signs of life on your face, living and on your being. But that's not where someone's beauty is. And only true seekers of beauty and love see beauty within maybe the most not so appealing shell. It does come from within. I mean, you've met those people, right? They just exude this something. Is it you just want to snuggle them, or apparently people want to just punch and kill me a lot, but and I really take that to heart sometimes. But you just meet someone and it's just something so special about them, even maybe the way they talk or their voice, and you're just kind of taken up by some beauty within them, and you could look at them and you could be like, well, I don't know, I mean, her nose is isn't it kind of big, and I mean, her lips are a little skinny, but see, like, none of that even matters, because that person's real true beauty with Jesus shines out. Okay, so repeating a lot. Turtle, swan, the cougar. And wanted to celebrate the American Sycamore one more time, because this came up at one of our worst targetings. Please excuse the kitchen. We were literally still doing jugs of water and things for quite a while until we figured out a system, and I'd like to show you what John's brilliant mind came up with. Because I just was doing what everyone else did, which was we just have to thaw that spot. And we're like, what are we doing now? Okay, American Sycamore. So I can't get stuff done out here because there was this space. It would kind of be hidden behind his barn. It was like a hiding spot. And so anyone onlookers, you wouldn't be able to see the harassment that he would partake in on this side behind his huge barn, and then just do this like pressure thing on us. I call it suffocating spirits. There's a spot out there, and I would just look at it, and I didn't understand what was going on. Here it was the main thing to the well, but they didn't have a distinct marker. But there was a big rose tree. Well, why don't we just go see it? There was a big rose, because Hips scared a branch was going to hit his head. He had that happen when he was young, and it never left. And I understand, because I'm sure it hurt. It wasn't small. And he's a little more of a tweaker. Hip's a tweaker. I mean, there's no way around it. He's a tweaker. Poe's more chill. If they were both tweakers, I might have stayed in the hospital or asked him to keep me. Okay, so the American Sycamore is right here. And I was going to dig it up because I was like, I'm starting to realize this is the well area. We got to figure out. So this is literally like a rose tree. I cut so much of the dead off, and a lot of it came back. But because it's so old, I don't know. This is the American Sycamore. So it was a lot tinier. And I'm starting to dig it up, and I'm like, I can't get this dug up. I never saw roots like this. And come to find out, it's an American sycamore. It's really exciting to me. If you look up the history of the meaning of sycamore and spiritual connotations to it and all of that, it's quite something else. Okay, well, I think that's it for today. I think we had fun, and nobody will watch it anyways, but some of us are getting older. We have a lot of gems that we want to share with the children, and I feel that that's part of my calling too. Are we going to get into doomsday stuff? My phone's probably going to die. No, let's just not do that. I might do it in another video. How about that? And I want to think there's plenty of doomsdayers out there. I don't need to be one of them. But unfortunately, sometimes I still have to give heads up or warnings because it does technically feel like I could make a mistake, but if I don't do what's laid on my heart, that literally feels like I'm committing the biggest crime, regardless of what I'm accused of or what I have or have not really done. Is my biggest crime that I commit against God is that if he lays something super heavy and it seems extremely vital, and even if he shifts gears or it wasn't as I thought, people try to say he never changes. We don't understand in the sense of the word of what God changes or doesn't change. And God does shift things, and God does bring things about, and he does know the future, but he also gave humans free will, and we have to take all of that and tie it in together. Because when a large group of people turn their shift and their eyes onto God, it shifts energies, and God therefore would be shifting events. But I don't want to get into a theological debate about God never changes. No, he doesn't change in the sense of what the rules are, the initial rules of our human existence, of natural law. Just natural law of things. So I don't want to do any more let's get scared about a bunch of hoodlums breaking in and doing horrible things. But when I discussed a line about a week ago or so in the country, the fires, and then over North Carolina and that line, and then down, and it was some weeks prior to this war on the border, is that I think, but this isn't like, ooh, it's so, we didn't know. No, everyone knows. It's that we don't know how bad it is. Because see, while they were planting all the terrorists, so we did go into darkness a bit. They planted all these, let's call them terrorists at this point. They're way up into even Montana, these dangerous men. So they planted them, and then the internal war is going to erupt. And a little bit ago in the video, I had discussed when me and my husband would say, I'm like, they're causing the war within. They got all of us, everyone's pitting against one another. Neighborhoods are falling apart. Families are falling apart. Communities, they're making the war within the people. Well, I don't know, because we didn't turn on each other enough into a full-out war. So then they just started letting all these illegals be rushed into Europe and everywhere else. And it really is a third world war, but it's going to be a different kind of war, because I still honestly believe the elites, it's going to get cut off. It's too long. The elites are going to jump ship. Mar-Lago. Can you hear about Mar-Lago anymore? Mar-Lago. I'm so sick of hearing about Mar-Lago. The place should be shut down after the Epstein thing. You sickos. Think they're just gonna, the ones, there's not, you guys, the group that runs the world is so small, this is pathetic, is they're gonna run off and we're gonna be fighting a bunch of violent reptilians. Guaranteed, these guys, these are generational cartels. You understand? They live for death and violence. I gotta go. So, this thing, the line, and then the enclosing, that's what I must have been seeing was this. I didn't know. I mean, yeah, he said he was going to go down and he's going to take care of business. Yeah, typical mess. Was there any preliminary military train, like, just stick the military down on the border? What about everywhere else? You guys, come on, man. This is sick. I mean, I'm not even trained in military procedure type of ideas, but I would, as a woman, just have enough sense to sit down and know, like, just from raising a child and a very, very lively, amazing young child that was super smart, that I had to learn to, like, I don't know if that's where I learned some more of it, but I had to plan and I had to be ahead of things. I had to be on target. If he sensed weakness, it was a bad day, you know what I mean? So I was extra trained with my environment, but that we already know that the infiltration was all over random. Are those cities being tended to? It's sad. I'm accused of hating my country. So many lists. I don't hate my country. I don't like lies. And I know a lot. And I'm not bragging. I know things I didn't want to know, and God made sure those things were in my face. It didn't matter how far I went or out in the middle of nowhere. Why would I be led? And then I meet the people that have the information about 9/11 back in 2005. It was so random. I could have been anywhere else in California or on this continent or the universe. But no, I just happened to be at this one spot with this information. And, you know, it hurt my life, but like, there's not a night that I can try to sleep that I don't have peace knowing that I tried. I tried with whatever God allowed me to try with to speak the truth and warn my fellow Americans when I could. So, I don't know. I didn't expect a reward. I just wanted a better place for my son's life. That's it. I wanted whatever was left that was good preserved, and just that he could maybe have some kind of normalcy in his life. And it was far from that. So I'm going to, and I guess I should have known that when I cared so much about saving the Constitution. I shouldn't have cared about saving the Constitution. There's a lot of things I guess I shouldn't have cared about. So I have to live with that. So you, though, maybe it's time for you to pick up the baton, whoever you are. How about it? Because I'm probably going to be locked up soon with some more convoluted bullshit they can pull off. So, because they just simply don't want to look at the facts and the truth. And this county is a disgrace. The legislation, the police, it's such a horrifying disgrace to humanity. And I must go. Love you.